Closers on bad teams get saves too.
Don't draft these 4 players if you want to win your league.
The first player on my do not draft list for 2022 is Adalberto Mondesi of the Kansas City Royals. Look, I get the appeal. We all want that guy who's going to make up for all the shortcuts we took earlier in the draft when it comes to speed. I just don't think it's going to be Adalberto Mondesi. You look at the projections, they all look good, but they're projecting, most systems projecting 120 to 136 games. Adalberto Mondesi has been in the majors for parts of 6 seasons, and he has exceeded 100 games played once, topping out at 102 games played. He's only exceeded, he's never exceeded 75 games in any of his other 5 seasons. Strikeout rate around 30%, walk rate around 4%. I just don't think he's a very good hitter. And I think the team has made it clear that they don't really view him, or they're not going to be counting on him as an everyday guy.
If it's after pick 50 and you're looking for steals, who's going to be your pivot then?
Most of the steals, at least a third of the steals, are off the board by pick 100. So I'm going to be going with the guys like, Randy Arozarena, guys early on like Bo Bichette, Jose Ramirez, Bryce Harper. I want to get steals in those first 5 rounds.
Myles Straw has an ADP just after 130.
Yeah, similarly with Adalberto Mondesi, Myles Straw is just not a very good hitter. He's been in the big leagues parts of 4 seasons, and he has a OPS, on base plus slugging, of just 684, which is really, really low. Anything under 700 puts you in that real danger zone when it comes to playing time. And while you look at that Guardians roster and you may not see alternatives, if a guy really is struggling, they'll plug anybody else in and kind of hit the reset button if Myles Straw is really struggling. Now, our own James Anderson has made a good point that Myles Straw is so good defensively that it may not matter with his stick in terms of affecting his playing time, but the lack of thump leaves so much ground to make up with him, and he doesn't cover enough ground there with the on base to be an above average bat. So I think the defense can only take him so far when it comes to playing time, and the bat leaves open a lot of playing time downside for Myles Straw. I just don't know if it's there anymore. We saw some in the past with Gary Sanchez. He broke onto the scene and was a monster. Won some people leagues his first year up, but it's been a major struggle for El Gary ever since. And I just don't see the batting average coming back for Gary Sanchez. I think he's probably going to be living in the low 200s the rest of his career, and that just detracts so much from the power that he provides that I think he's pretty much a wash when it comes to his value. I think the low batting average offsets the power to a large extent. Too many dead fly balls, dead ducks in the outfield, a lot of power, but too many of those fly balls just land in outfielders' gloves for Gary Sanchez. So I see him hitting in the 200s, and Jeff Zimmerman just had a good piece come out. And he was mentioning that a hitter in the low 200s is like rostering a pitcher with a 5+ ERA. I just don't think a lot of fantasy managers have that firm grasp on that concept yet, that just how detrimental a low 200s batting average can be. And I want to avoid that if I can. So I'm out again on Gary Sanchez.
Give me one more player fantasy managers should avoid when they draft, say around pick 150 to 180.
I'll give you 2 more. Actually, one reliever and one starting pitcher. One is an easy one because Lance McCullers just came out and said that he's behind in his recovery. So I went ahead and removed him from my top 300. I think you probably just cross him off your list entirely. Then on the relief pitching side, Camilo Doval seems like kind of an easy fade given the walk rate, but I'm on that side of things. He emerged as the end gamer for the San Francisco Giants down the stretch. Pretty electric arm, but man, if he could just learn where it's going or figure out where it's going a little bit more, he could be great. But until he does, I see him ceding some of the save chances there to Jake McGee, maybe others. I think, the scramble for closers in the mid rounds leads to Camilo Doval going pretty high because people see how he did it down the stretch, but the walks, I think, are going to hold him back. It's really hard to close games consistently when you have all that traffic on the base paths with a walk rate around 5 per 9. It's just too high. So I get that you need your saves, but maybe go with like a David Bednar type. I know the team's a lot worse there in Pittsburgh, but closers on bad teams get saves too.
To see all of RotoWire's fantasy baseball draft kit, you can do so right now for free for 10 days. Go to rotowire.com/try.